Welcome to Chiro Hustle live stream. Today I have almost called you doctor. We have Melody Watts here with me, and I'm really excited. We've come into each other's ecosystems over the past couple years, and I've seen you at multiple chiropractic seminars and events. And I know you're doing a whole lot in the ecosystem of chiropractic to help build profits, but also help people with solutions. And I think that that's the thing is everybody wants to talk about problems, but not many people have the opportunity to give solutions. And that's why I fell in love with the movement that you're a part of with doTERRA, because it's solution-based care. And it goes hand in hand with chiropractic, and it helps chiropractors with their bottom line. So I just wanted to first acknowledge you for being in an amazing group with the doTERRA group, and for supporting Chiro Hustle as a sponsor for us and working hand in hand with us now. So first of all, welcome to the Chiro Hustle live stream.
Yay. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It feels so special.
Yeah, I feel like, we all arrive at a certain point, and sometimes we're on the same path together at the right time, and timing's everything. Yeah. And I know that's what we're going to be talking about today is timing. And whether it's a chiropractor that wants to add an extra stream of business to their practice, or they want to find solutions for some of the things that they are seeing their patients come in that are going through the pill mill or the cut it out, drug it out, burn it out methods. And that's why chiropractic is so strong, because they save people from that. And, I believe in the t-shirt that I'm wearing here, we should expect miracles. Mm-hmm. I ask chiropractors all the time, tell me a miracle story. And everybody has one.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we could share today too, as I'm sure you've seen some miracle stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Would you mind sharing with us something that really stands out to you over your career working with doTERRA?
Yeah, well, gosh, there's so many, but I'll just kind of talk to you about my story. So my kids were born at home and adjusted the day they were born, and from the chiropractor that I first worked for 22 years ago. And I just remember going to my job interview. I was like his 30th interview, and he kind of had to hire me because I was last on the list. But it worked out. It was like totally meant to be. And I just couldn't believe I was in school for health science, and I couldn't believe how much I learned just in that 20 or 30-minute interview with him about chiropractic. And the more I got involved in chiropractic and the more I learned about what chiropractic was, the more excited I was. And I just wanted to tell everybody about it. In fact, we were doing an interview the other day, and he says he remembers that it was like my first month working there. And for my birthday, I had to work on my birthday, but he was doing a workshop that night. And for my birthday, I asked all my siblings and parents to come to the workshop. That's what I wanted for my birthday. You guys have to come to this chiropractic workshop and hear the chiropractic story. Like, I was so on fire, and still am, of course, on fire about chiropractic. But I just love being able to empower people with their health. Like that is what I loved. I loved being able to give mothers solutions when their kids had ear infections. And I loved seeing all the results that I got. And so just with our patients every day, working, seeing them come in and having them breathe better and having them function better, and everything about every patient that we saw got better. And, we did a lot of before and after x-rays and things like that, so we could see structural changes, energetic changes, but I just loved everything about it. So when I became a mother and started working from home, I actually got into real estate. Long story short, my son getting this cough brought me back into looking for more solutions. He was already getting adjusted. So what was causing this inflammation in his body, and what could I do as a mom, understanding that the body that made the power that made the body heals the body, that if you give it the proper tools, it can heal, right? And so understanding this concept, I was looking, but unfortunately, alternative medicine and herbs and things like that, sometimes they're not very potent, they're not very consistent, they're not very reliable, they're not tested, they're not regulated, all the things, right? And so when I came across doTERRA oils, it was like a lightning bolt, like chiropractic was for me. And when I learned that the oils worked with the parasympathetic nervous system instead of suppressing it like drugs, when I learned that it increased function and lowered symptoms, And when my son slept through the night, it was miraculous for me, right? Of course, I have, the chiropractic. The thing about my kids being adjusted the day they were born, they never had ear infections, right? They never had all the things. My son, after the second he got adjusted, he started turning his head the other way and he would nurse on the other side. Like everything about it, that's a miracle to me, right? Like having my son be able to turn his head and nurse the other way, a few hours after he's born, that's a miracle. It might feel like a small miracle, but that's huge when you think about the impact of the nervous system, right, on a baby. And so when I came across these oils and my son slept through the night and I didn't have to use the steroids and the allergy meds and the antihistamines that I was told he was going to be on, and that would have put him on a medical treadmill of ADHD meds and all the things that go along with taking steroids, right? And then I did genetic testing and found out he would have done horrible with synthetics. Like it's just not something his body metabolizes well. And learned more about epigenetics, which is huge for chiropractors that are functional medicine doctors. I started to really understand that we need to use powerful solutions that are regulated by at least a governing body, not the government, thank goodness, but at least by, third-party labs and entities that will check for purity and consistency that actually give you very consistent results. And so for me, I could take that to the bank. I could go, you know what? Every single batch is going to be quality. It's going to work. It's going to work with his body. For us, for example, what I used on him increased oxygen saturation. Oxygen saturation goes up. That's a miracle to me. We didn't have to use a drug. We didn't have to go to the emergency room. Oxygen saturation's up. It's staying there. It's consistent. Nature has already provided the answers. And it's like, that's what happened when I learned about chiropractic. I was like, oh, our body already has the answers. It knows how to heal if given the proper tools. And then we have this symbiotic relationship with the earth that, oh, this is our domain. This was created for us to enjoy. And the plants that are on them have rich chemistry that have been researched to, soothe the nervous system, increase oxygen saturation, be neuroprotective. It's not an accident that this chemistry exists in these plants, right? And so it was just a massive awakening for me to do this. And so as I was working at the time with chiropractors, I was actually consulting chiropractors, and I found that some of them were looking for extra marketing solutions. And for some of them, if it was the right fit, I said, what about lifestyle workshops? And I did a little research and I found that 38% of the population are looking for alternative medicine and that 9% are under chiropractic care. 9% of Americans are under chiropractic care. And I thought, wow, we've got our work cut out. Yet here's this market, 38% are looking for alternative medicine. By the way, that was 2007. So imagine how much bigger it is now.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably doubled, that are open to alternative medicine. And so the way I look at it is, wow, if we can do these workshops and if chiropractors can feel called to not only adjust people, but give them the lifestyle tools they need to be empowered, that goes hand in hand, right? So the last thing we want to do is adjust somebody and then not teach them how to take care of their body, to take care of their adjustment, to worry about their thoughts, traumas, and toxins, to understand that when they go home to synthetic Glade plugins, they're affecting their epigenetics and the respiratory system of their grandchildren, not only themselves, but right, this is turning on bad DNA when you're using chemicals in your environment. It subluxates the nervous system, the spine when you're exposed to chemicals. And so the first thing is just, holy cow, let's remove these chemicals, these toxins from your immediate environment in your home. And it's shocking how many, even chiropractors that are still buying greenwashed products that have toxins in them.
Well, I want to touch on a couple of these topics that are really like hot for me right now. As you're talking about epigenetics, and epigenetics is modification of your environment, and that's within your thoughts. That's in your traumas, what you've experienced throughout your lifetime. So we're like time capsules of everything that's happened to us. And we're time capsules of the carcinogens that we have in our environments. So we're basically big sponges. And when we have past injuries, we get scar tissue. And when we have past traumas and toxins, we have formulation of basically layers upon us. And we don't know how to really detox from that. And what I've really come to understand about essential oils is they help remove the carcinogens from the household, and they are plant-based medicine. So what you're saying is chiropractic is a door of 9%, and alternative medicine is a bigger door of 38%. So what we're saying is that alternative medicine swings on a bigger hinge than the 9% of chiropractic. So if people start to understand that, they used to say that, once people know, there's no denying it.
Right.
And when people know that there are real stats out there for a reason, like stats matter. And we know that, people are looking for solutions. And like we started out at the beginning of this interview conversation, is so many people are looking for solutions. They just don't know where to go or who to trust. Right. And I know that when we joined forces together, with doTERRA and yourself, there's a link up in the description of this live interview where you guys can click on and see a full explanation of what Melody's doing and how you can learn more information on essential oils and how that can help with your family, your environment, and your business. So I know that there's so much to be said about finding solutions, but also about epigenetics, and also about this like sponge factor. Like, we are what we eat, and we are what our environment like contains. And people just they don't realize that, like, we are so disconnected from good quality products inside of our houses. I think they said that like most of the people that get like some type of a lung infection or lung disease or anything, it's from household products, like cleaning products. And they're full of crap. They're full of bad stuff. They're full of chemicals and carcinogens. So let's talk a little bit further about, I know you said that it's healthy for, children. It's healthy for, cleaning up people's toxic lifestyles. Let's talk a little bit about how it helps people with their traumas. Cause that's one of the topics I'm not really clear on.
Yeah. So, well, there's 3 ways to use essential oils, but I always put in a 4th way. So you can use it aromatically. So just by diffusing, making the house not only smell good, but also affecting your brain chemistry. It goes right into the olfactory system, where we have a little olfactory nerve here, and it directly affects the limbic system. So when you're using toxic chemicals like Glades or Sensi's, or even room fresheners in your bathroom spray in the office,
scented candles,
it irritates and causes inflamed tissue in the respiratory system, which we know that pathogens are more attracted to inflamed tissue. So I know people that they just got rid of their chemicals, didn't even bring in essential oils, and their sinus infections went away because they just removed it. So aromatically, but the cool thing about essential oils, instead of them causing oxidative damage, like all the smells, they're antioxidants. So they work to protect the cells against oxidative damage. So that's the first way to use it, is breathing it in. And of course, it increases oxygen saturation, affects the mood. The second way to use it is topically. So just using it on your skin, using it on your heart. So this is where a lot of times people can feel tightness or anxiousness. So we can put essential oils actually directly on the body with a carrier oil, or just some of it can be just applied right on there. And what it does is it shifts different emotional tones in the body. So my husband's an emotion code, body code practitioner. And oftentimes when he's doing sessions, he'll have somebody put an essential oil over their heart just to balance their body, so they're easier to work on. And so their body is more relaxed, and the oils hold a higher frequency than any other substance on the planet. So like rose essential oil, for example, is the highest frequency on the planet. So you put rose essential oil on your heart. If somebody has pain, which is a low vibrational, painful energy, right? It can help offset some of that trauma. And so that's what it does. It shifts emotional tones in the body. So I remember when my kids were little, going through a divorce, and sometimes my daughter would just cry uncontrollably, and I would use a blend called Elevation. And within 10, 15 seconds, she would stop crying. And I remember thinking, oh, that's a coincidence. There's no way it can work that fast. And then I learned that they're lipophilic, which means they're fat soluble, and they get absorbed directly into the skin. Within 30 seconds, they're in every cell. Whereas when you take a pill, it has to go through the digestive system, and it can take a half hour sometimes to work. And then you've got a suppression of the nervous system as well, and the chemical byproduct from that. Whereas with this, by the 3rd time I used it and she stopped crying, I was like, maybe it is the oils, right? And then I started to really learn how they work on emotions and traumas. They also can interrupt negative patterns in the brain. So when you're working with neuroplasticity and trying to change neurological patterns in the brain, it's very effective to go hand in hand with chiropractic during the adjustment. So it's just one of those things that when you use it and you realize that you're using pure oils that actually are potent and have the highest frequency and they're clean. We're not talking about a staticky frequency that you would get from, crappy oils on the market, 95% of which are adulterated or synthetic, getting worse in the industry, not better. It's just like using more chemicals on your body. So I always just recommend people use doTERRA. I, for one, have multiple chemical sensitivities, and you can bring me an organic essential oil and I can smell the chemical undertones in it. And they don't release their test results. So it's a completely different ball of wax when you're dealing with a company that does 54 different tests,
It's really cool to hear this. And I know that there's probably a bunch of, I call them mama practors out there that are the protectors of the universe, the moms of the world that want to have healthier families. Yeah. And I know, or you can go the other direction and say there's a bunch of crunchy moms out there that want to have a more organic lifestyle for their families. And I think that this is right up their alley, and it's right up their, what they're looking for. And it's I guarantee it's not at Whole Foods. It's not at your local grocer. It's through you.
It's really through the chiropractors and through health practitioners that they can trust, have done the research. If you look at the number one pediatrician recommended vitamin, it's Flintstones. Have you looked at the ingredients in Flintstones? Most of the ingredients in Flintstones cause ADHD, the oils, the preservatives in it, the dyes in it literally cause the exact symptoms that mothers are trying to avoid. And it's the number one pediatric recommended vitamin. And so people aren't going to their pediatricians for nutritional advice because unfortunately they don't get nutritional training. Chiropractors at least get 50 hours, right? And so you guys are the ones that have the mantle of responsibility to go, I got to teach them the lifestyle. Well, the reason why medical doctors don't do it is because they don't have time within their visit, right? And chiropractors, when you do the adjustment, you don't necessarily have the time to teach them right there during the adjustment. So I always recommend that you do workshops, because workshops is where you're going to influence your community and inspire your community on the right mindset. I remember one time, my first week working for my chiropractor, I got hives. And I go, I need to go home and take some Benadryl. And he goes, oh, do you think your body has a lack of Benadryl and that's why you have hives? And I had this mindset go off. And I was like, wow, I never thought about what's causing the hives, because we're programmed, right, to just go take a drug. And so we have this enormous responsibility to deprogram society and go, no. If you remove the interference and give your body the proper tools, it doesn't need that Benadryl, right? Like emergency medicine, so grateful for that, right? If I break my arm or, anything, I'm going to go to the emergency room. We have number one emergency room care in the world, in America, but our healthcare is lacking. I
think we're 38th.
Yeah, it's awful. Our healthcare is awful. And so people they can no longer rely on their doctors and their government to take care of them. It is like, one thing about chiropractic is we teach people personal responsibility. So what I love about incorporating doTERRA essential oils, we talked about aromatic, we talked about topical, and then there's internal use, only doTERRA, to help with things like glutathione, to help with things like dopamine, to help cleanse the gut, to help go in there and increase even serotonin in the gut. There's things that the oils can do that they're so powerful. Again, neuroprotective. They do all these incredible things taken internally as well. And then the fourth way is environmentally. So what are you doing for your weeds? What are you doing for your pests? What are you doing for your cleaning? And I just had a gal, she's married to a gastro doctor, and she was like, oh, I'll never get rid of my bleach, right? Until I showed her how much more effective essential oils were at cleaning her stuff. Like, they're more effective. It's not just, oh, I've got to downgrade to something natural. No. You clean your stainless steel with On Guard, you'll never go back to your chemical cleaner again. It's just like, and it's cheaper. So I can make a bottle, and I'm not a DIY person. I just get a water bottle. I just get a water bottle and put 10 drops of On Guard. That's my cleaner. That just cleans. If you want to add, witch hazel to it, or if you want to add alcohol in it to make it like FDA approved, you can, but I just use the On Guard. because On Guard's got plenty of research on its own.
Yeah, it's really cool that, plant-based medicine is not just for the body, but it's for the environment that you live in.
Absolutely.
And if we're like in this era of germaphobes and people that want to consistently ring it out and say, hey, we have a concern here. Why don't we just start working on cleaning up the environment and cleaning up
what they're using in schools right now, the chemicals to clean the schools.
It's all awful.
It's awful. And here's what's interesting. Thymol is FDA approved. It's a constituent, and thyme essential oil is FDA approved to be a disinfectant. And it's more effective. If you look at the research and you look at it's like an intermediate, whereas the chemicals are, is one level lower than intermediate. I can't remember what they call it, but it's really interesting. But all the side effects, the respiratory problems, the eye irritation that this causes, that this Thymol doesn't cause any of it. So I actually have a teacher I work with who presented this to the school board where I live. And they're like, why are we exposing these kids to these chemicals?
Well, I think the other thing here, Melody, to really drive home is within chiropractic, what we've realized is that we have a sicker group of humans, and people are representing more symptomatology. And it's a different patient than 20 years ago. People are coming in with more concerns for type 2 diabetes. They're coming in with more concerns of hypertension. They're coming in with more concerns of poor diets, and they don't have a solution for much of anything. So that's when they come in and they're waving their white flag and they're like, I want something different. And like you're saying, people are looking for alternatives, right? And they get into the chiropractic lifestyle and they start realizing, wow, I don't have the same, like your son. I don't have a torticollis. I don't have a symptom of my low back screaming at me because I've worked 8 hours today, or my shoulder's not screaming at me because I've been, working all day, or I've been, whatever people do for their lifestyle. Like they come into the chiropractor looking for like an exit strategy. They're like, give me that damn miracle adjustment.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize is that people are coming into the chiropractor with so much toxicity. They're coming in with so much concern with, it's just a different patient. Like they have different layers of subluxation that are much more, I think it's a different, they present different cases. And that's what we have to do, is we have to start treating the whole body rather than focusing on just looking at the adjustment, which I think I'll never take anything away from the chiropractic adjustment. That's why I become like Advocate of the Year award winner, like multiple years now. But what I think, Melody, is people have to start thinking about the whole body. Yeah. And that's why doTERRA is powerful.
They have to look at what they're consuming. And so, I always try to tell, so that the patient will come to the doctor and go, why am I not getting better? Right? Like, let's say these ones that are toxic or have the stress or whatever. And I, as the chiropractor, I would say, why do you think you're not getting better? Right? Because that person knows, oh, it's my stress. Oh, it's my sleep. So that's why asking questions like, hey, I'm just curious, why do you think you're not improving as quickly as some of my other patients? Like, why do you think it is? Do you think it's your stress levels? Do you think it's your sleep? Do you think it's your toxic relationship that you come in complaining about? Like, and I'm not saying to be their therapist, right? I'm just saying ask questions and invite them to workshops, because you don't often have time to do this during the patient visit. So I go, you know what? You'd be a great candidate for my stress workshop. I really think that what you're consuming in your mind and the relationships you're surrounding yourself with are affecting your body's ability to heal. A patient hears that from their chiropractor. Not only do they go, I am with a wise teacher. Okay. I'm with the right healer, but they actually want to teach me how to be empowered with what I'm consuming in my mind and my body and my home and what I'm eating, because everything is messages to the body. That toxic relationship is a message that you're not good enough. And that tells your cells, maybe you're telling your cells, I'm not good enough to heal. Whatever that message is because of that toxic relationship, whatever that message is from the chemicals that you're using, the bleach, because what it does is it strips iodine from the body, which affects the thyroid. It's telling the body, right, a message, and then it shows up as a symptom. And so these workshops, by the way, I have over 20 pre-done workshops for chiropractors that can go into each of these. So they don't have to go in and learn anything. And if they don't want to do the workshops, they can plug their patients into my online workshops. But I personally think that it's impactful if the chiropractor does at least 1 or 2 workshops a month on lifestyle medicine. And of course, incorporate chiropractic into that. And what's really cool about that is people do bring their friends. They do bring their friends because their friends aren't interested in chiropractic. Their friends are interested in thyroid health and hormones. And they don't understand that chiropractic can help that. So they come to the workshop, you teach them about thyroid health, you teach them about chiropractic, and you give them a new patient offer. And because it's 38% of the population looking for this, thyroid meds are the #1 prescribed, by the way, in the United States. You're all of a sudden opening yourself up to teach people that it's not just back pain. And so that's the key right there.
Well, I think you open up the conversation for this topic, community.
Mm-hmm.
And chiropractic has always been a beacon of light in the community.
Yeah.
And I've always told people to go get checked by their neighborhood chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something really important to consider today in this era, is we have to start supporting our communities again. We have to start creating safe places for people to congregate and people to be a part of. And the workshop is an ideal solution for that. You hold a community-based event, you invite friends and family, and you do education. And if I've understood anything over my 12 years of working in chiropractic, is that we have to do a better job of education. We have to give better resources to people. We have to nurture them. We have to tell them the story. And I think there's not a greater way than to be the doctor, which is equivalent to the teacher, and to bring people in for a workshop style community-based event to get people together again, and to let people chit chat, and to let them rub elbows with each other, and to let them know it's okay to come into this place of healing.
Building community is so important. You know, I work with the #1 pediatric practice in the state of Idaho, purpose-driven chiropractic. And Dr. Christy Hafer, she does retreats for her female patients. Like, she does retreats. How cool is that? Of course, she invites me in and has me do but like, she does retreat. Like, do you know the kind of relationships that you are building with your patients when you're giving them this value? And you guys, people like me will come in for free and teach your patients. Like, you know what I mean? Partner with your, partner with people that have great healing messages in your community. Have Zoom me in to your next ladies retreat, Zoom me in and I'll teach them about oils, And so, but I love that. It's like, you wonder why she's the #1 pediatric practice in the state of Idaho. And it's because of the community. It's because of the workshops. And I mean, of course, that's not everything to it, but you talked about teaching people. And a lot of times chiropractors don't know where to start. They're like, well, where do I start? And so systems, wealth is built on systems, and education is built on systems, and people build upon the next class, right? And so we have a very systematic approach to teaching patients how to heal. It's not just all oils. We will talk oils. We will talk nutrition. We will talk protein. We'll talk macros. Like, we talk everything in our workshops, right? The oils are just the tool, right, for our environment and for our temporary relief of this, and to change a neuro pattern in our brain. Like, these are the tools we use. But what we are teaching is all the things that support everything, including the nervous system, in these workshops. We have a series of 8. I have 20 workshops, but we do them in series of 8. So if a patient comes to all 8, they get like a free oil or they get a free something, right? And so then they're super empowered to be able to, wow, I can go home now and empower my kids. I remember one time my chiropractor telling me there's like these different archetypes he was talking about. And I was myself trying to just heal my body. I had like morning sickness with my second pregnancy. And he told me, I was like, what am I? And he goes, you're a healer. And I was like, what? I'm a healer? That's so weird. I never thought of myself as a healer. Like, that's who I am. And of course, I realized, oh, I am a healer. Like, this is what I do. But I think every mother, if they just knew they are healers in their home, wow, how impactful and empowered will they be, that when, they take their kids to the chiropractor. Like my cousin, she's married to a gastro MD, but her son fell off her horse. He gets regular chiropractic care. She goes, I'm taking him to the chiropractor. Like this is just how we think, us healers in our homes. Like, that's just how we think. Chiropractic is part of our life. And so I'm off on a tangent now, but my point is you want to raise healers in your community, because ultimately these mothers are going in the home and they're the healers of their home.
I love that. And something that I'm just going to drive home before we close out today is that the moms and the women of the community are the healers of the community, and they're the healers of the family, and they're the decision makers ultimately for all of us guys over here. Um, because we're smart enough to shake our head like this and say yes. And that's just it though, is like we know the pecking order. And we know that the women are good decision makers for family care. And when it comes to chiropractic care for the family, it's great to have woman influence. When it's, what goes in the refrigerator or what gets done for the family, what activities are done, it's great to have woman influence. So it's also really great to have women influence to make the decisions on what goes into the cabinet in the um, the bathroom, which most people call a medicine cabinet. You probably call it an oil cabinet, and
Oh
I
yeah,
call it a vitamin cabinet. So
we got vitamins too. We got all right? We got herbs, we got vitamins, we have oils, and our goal is to teach people how to use these amazing gifts of the earth. Like doTERRA means gift of the earth. That's what it means. And so, but what you said about these mothers is they need strong leaders like chiropractors in communities teaching them. Like that is where I learned. That is where I learned how to become a healer in my home, was the chiropractors I worked for and the chiropractors I went to. And so the world needs chiropractic thought leaders to go in and continue teaching these things. And the cool thing about partnering with doTERRA as your wellness partner is, like I said, I mean, I could go into all the reasons why doTERRA is the best to partner with, but I would say the biggest is the consistency, the purity, the testing, and the fact that essential oils are the highest vibrating. I mean, chiropractic's the best profession in healthcare, right? Like you got to match it with the best stuff on the planet. And the other thing is I love to see chiropractors be wealthy. I don't like to see stressed out chiropractors grinding and getting burnt out. And so when, the chiropractors on my team, they're able to go on vacations and their commissions can oftentimes go up because it was in December, which is, doTERRA's biggest month. And so it's like they're already, and this brings me to my final point, is your most overlooked asset is the fact that you have, as chiropractors, worked really hard to develop databases and relationships. And if you are not maximizing your knowledge, right, and selling your knowledge through products that you endorse, then that basically, you're really missing. You're missing that link of how to create wealth while teaching, right? It's this like, we don't want you to go out and not be compensated, right, for all this massive value that you're bringing. And you are getting paid while you do the adjustment, but I want to see you get paid while you're sleeping, because that's what you're worth, right? And so like with me in doTERRA, I make 7 figures. And I have chiropractors making multiple 6 figures just in their doTERRA business. I have chiropractors able to take time off and build a new practice. And they're able to do things because they are able to have this passive income where we have a 65% retention rate. And then I teach you how to do it without it hijacking your practice. Like, we don't hijack practices. We're focused on chiropractic. We put in systems that don't hijack chiropractic.
Well, I love that, Melody. And I think that really going full circle with you today is we need to work on chiropractors maximizing their database and reactivating old files and figuring out how to do that effectively, and growing the practice when they're sleeping, and giving them the lifestyle that they've worked for through education and through business building, and making it more fun for them. And I believe in a concept called ELF, and it was developed by Joe Polish and Dean Jackson, who started a podcast called I Love Marketing, and they're in the Genius Network. And it stands for easy, lucrative, and fun. And if you apply the ELF principle to running a chiropractic office with doTERRA, you're going to have an easy way to implement a system that's been tested. It's going to be lucrative because you're going to have a 65% retention of business. And then it's going to be fun because you're going to be able to empower people and make healthier families in a healthier community. And I think when you drive all 3 of those points home, you're going to find a more freedom. And that's the big equation there, is freedom. And everybody wants freedom. And I think a lot of times people talk about the golden handcuffs of chiropractic, like the chiropractors like handcuffed to the adjusting table and they never get a chance to take the time off. But I know that that's what a solution-based company like doTERRA does, is they help maximize the time spent and the income earned and the freedom earned. So I just think that what you're doing is amazing. And people are curious or want more information. There's a link in the Facebook Live description up here that you can click on and go check out a webinar that Melody has put together with an amazing resource of information and knowledge base. And I just want to once again thank you for being on with me today. I know we went over a little bit of our time with each other today, but I think the value that we added to the world today was very much necessary. And if you guys are at the end of this and had a chance to watch what Melody and I discussed today, leave us a comment. If you want to give this a share, please do that. And if you want to reach out to Melody or myself with any information about doTERRA, please send us a direct message through Facebook Messenger, email us. And comment in the comments below. If you're watching this live, hashtag live in the comments. And if you watch this on replay, go ahead and put replay in the comments so we know that you watched it. Melody, have fun with your family today. And thank you. Thank you for being on with me today.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor. Appreciate you.
Yeah. And I look forward to our next time. And I look forward to building a future with you and doTERRA.
Yeah. Awesome.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.